Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to winter's TBR. I think I'm going to start doing seasonal TBRs, especially if all these amazing creators make like seasonal bingo boards. In the fall, I followed Emily Elizabeth, the book lover, and she had a bingo board for the fall. And Ash Loves Books Plus Owls is doing a winter bingo. Apparently she did a fall bingo too, but I didn't see that one. So technically this one starts on January 1st. I'm going to start it today because as I'm filming this, it's winter officially. It started on December 21st. It is currently December 21st while I'm filming this. You will see this in a couple of days, hopefully, but I'm hoping to get a blackout because you know me, I'm extra and always go hard or go home on these challenges. Picked a book for every single prompt. Now at the end of this, so like this goes until March 20th. So at the end of March, beginning of April, there will be a video of me wrapping up how I actually did on the bingo board, if I made any changes to what book I officially used. So this is like a tentative list of possibilities. In 2026, one of my goals is to actually try to stick to my TBRs, but we'll see. We'll get there. So I'm gonna start at the top and go over and keep going. I think there are 25 spaces. Let's start right here. The first prompt, just kidding, is blue cover. I had lots of options, but like I said, I'm trying to stick to my TBRs. We will see. I'm notorious for making a TBR and not sticking to it, but we are going to go through all the prompts right now. I'm gonna show you the book I pick, and then at the end of this season I will grab the bingo board and we will see how I did. But the first prompt is a blue cover, and this is very, very blue. I'm gonna count everything that I'm currently reading, and so basically for me the readathon starts today and will go up until March 20th. Yeah, March 20th, and then springtime happens. Not September. Anyways, this is Cassandra in Reverse by Holly Small. This follows Cassandra. Here's the thing. It reminded me of... It kind of reminds me of Una Out of Order, which I absolutely fell in love with. This follows Cassandra, who is down on her luck and everything's going wrong for her. So she finds out that she can go back in time and change her past. So of course she does. It's a Reese's book club pick, but I've heard that it's gonna make me emotional. One of my goals for 2026 is to seek more books that make me cry, that make me emotional. So here we go. Then All Love is Love. Hold on. The next one is All Love is Love, Him by Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen. This one's on Kindle, and I always forget about it. This one is a male-male musical romance. I don't know about the musical part for sure, but ooh, I'm actually feeling I actually think I want to go with Him by Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen. Ice or Frost in the title. I actually had this plotted for blue on the cover because this is a very blue cover, but then I saw ice on the cover, or in the title, and it says Hearts on Thin Ice by Katie Kennedy. It's a hockey romance. A pro hockey player falls for an interior designer in this charming debut sports romance. Then we have New to TBR. So I did a book haul at the beginning of December. Tentatively, I'm going to put this on. But if I get books for Christmas, I don't think I will. I usually don't because my family's scared to buy me books because they're like, I don't know if she's read it or if she has it already. And, you know, it's fair. It's fair. It's fine. But if I get Christmas books for Christmas or anything, this potentially could change. Even if I do, this might stay the same. I don't know. But this is Where He Can't Find You by Darcy Coates. I love me some Darcy Coates. She's a horror author. I really love her contemporary horror. I don't like her paranormal stuff because I don't think I like paranormal all that much. But this is about a serial killer named the Stitcher. Marry You with Paper Rings. I guess it's Taylor Swift. And you're supposed to pick a book that mentions a wedding, that takes place at a wedding, that has something to do with the wedding. This is actually an arc that I should have already read, but I'm behind on arcs, so you will see a theme in this TBR. This is An Academic Affair by Jodi McAllister. It came out November 11th. But you follow these academic rivals and between Sadie and Jonah. And Sadie is up for some kind of promotion. Well, I think Jonah and Sadie are like rivals to getting this promotion. But instead, Sadie comes up with a plan where they can both get the promotion that they so deserve, and all they have to do is get married. Obviously, it's a sham marriage until it's not anymore, and that sounds... I've heard amusing things about this. I should have got to it in October, November-ish, but clearly I didn't, so... here I am trying to right my wrong of not reading my my arc. Alright, then we have Black History Month, and for this one I'm going to listen to, I don't remember the name of this book, but You See It, by Jason Mott. It's a horror novella that I got a few years ago as part of like a creature feature thing that Amazon did, and I haven't read a lot of them. A chilling book. For a chilling book, it's just something scary. I am going to read Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. I'm going to be real with you. There's a huge chance that this horror novel could be switched out for literally any horror novel that I own, because I have a lot on my TBR that I want to get to. But at the moment, this is the one that sounds the best. This is like about motherhood. And Anna just had a baby. So they move right after she has the baby or right before she has the baby. I don't remember. But she's you watch her descend into madness and you wonder if the apartment is haunted or if the mom is crazy or like postpartum or what's going on. And I have realized in the past year that I love like mama drama. Not mama drama, mama horror, mama drama, both. It's one of my favorite things in books. It's like such a guilty pleasure for me. So I am excited for this one. But there are so many other horror novels on my TBR that as long as I read any of them, I'll be good. So this next one was Be My Valentine. And originally I was going to pick romance because I have a ton of romances that I should be reading, that I should prioritize. Here's the caveat though. I got A Judgment in Stone by Ruth Rendell for Christmas in 2024. So almost a full year ago. And going into 2025, I said, oh, well, I must read any gifts that I was given. Like, I have this whole year to read it, but I need to read them. I did very well on that, except for A Judgment in Stone. I did not read this one, and it takes place on Valentine's Day. So on Valentine's Day, 4 members of the Coverdale family, George, Jacqueline, Melinda, and Giles, were murdered in the span of 15 minutes. Their housekeeper shot them one by one in the blue light of a televised performance of Don Giovanni. And then it's like it's a detective novel. But you already know the mystery. So I do really need to read this. So I can get it off my shelf. Best mystery writer in the English-speaking world. Okay, so it's like a mystery, but it took place on Valentine's Day. So I'm counting it. Okay, red cover. This definitely counts. It's completely red. This is Warm Bodies by Isaac Moran. I have been really wanting apocalypse books. And this is zombie apocalypse. But more than that, this will count towards one of my goals for 2026 is to read the book, watch the movie, and either discuss it on my channel, vlog it, or something. I'm not entirely sure. But this has a movie adaptation. I want to read this zombie love story. I think the zombie's name is R, and he falls in love with the human. I don't remember her name. There's a girl. That's all. Julie and R. And they fall in love. And it's kind of like horror, but it's also humorous. And it's apocalypse. So I'm excited. The next one is hockey. I actually have a lot of hockey books, and I have quite a few audiobooks. I really thought I would pick an audiobook, but If You Hate Me by Helena Hunting has been on my TBR for a long time. So my new roommates are 2 pro hockey players. First, my man-whore older brother, and second, his seriously hot best friend, who I seriously hate. So it's like a brother's best friend. Ugh, it's forced proximity because they're roommates. And it's hockey. I mean, what could go wrong? Okay, row number 3. The first prompt is Pine Trees. You can pick Pine Trees on the cover or a book that takes place in like the forest or the woods or whatever. I did both. This has lots of trees. I don't exactly think that they're pine trees, but I don't care. They're trees, and it takes place in a forest. But this is The Forest of Missing Girls by Nichelle Gerdelids. This also came out on November 11th, and again, I'm very far behind on my arcs, so we are trying to wrong that right and right that wrong. And this follows a girl named Leah, who, it's actually spelled like my daughter, Leah. Anyways, Leah used to be afraid of the woods by her house, but then she moved away, you know, went to college, and now for some reason she's back. I think her dad is sick. She came back to her hometown, and now there's creepy things happening in the forest. And I think that when she was in high school, girls used to go missing in the forest, hence the name. Make the Friendship Bracelets. So a book that has a good friendship group. I went to recommendations and have found that Distant Shores by Kristen Hanna has a pretty good friend group, like especially between Elizabeth and her best friend. I don't remember her name, but at the core of this book, it's about Elizabeth and Jackson, who married when they were really young, and now it's like 16 years later, 17 years later, and they're still married, but they're miserable. And so it's ultimately follows their broken marriage, what went wrong, and is it too late to fix it? And I love books like that. It's probably gonna shatter me, but again, I'm trying to cry more in 2026. She says like a psychopath with a smile on her face. A free space. Technically, you're supposed to read a book for this. I'm not gonna pick a book right now. I'm just gonna, when I do my wrap up, be like, oh, I read this book. You know, it didn't count for other prompts, so it can go right here. Ice skating. So a book that features ice skating, for that I'm gonna pick Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This follows an ice skater and a hockey player, and it's a romance. I've heard that's very smutty. Okay, and then a pink cover. It's a very pale pink, but it's very pink. So this is How I'll Kill You by Rin DeStefano. This is about 3 triplets. It's about triplets who have a habit of killing their boyfriends, but then one of them actually falls in love with her boyfriend and is trying to protect him from her sisters. Alright, and then our next row of prompts starts with escaping to somewhere warm. For that, I'm going to pick Love Naturally by Sophie Sullivan. This follows Presley, who surprises her boyfriend with a camping trip to this like really nice lodge. Okay, here's the thing. This lodge is in Michigan, but it's during, like, I know it gets cold in Michigan during the winter, but I think this takes place in the summer when it's not cold, and it's a camping trip, and usually you go camping when it's warm out. So even though the setting isn't always like warm, for this particular book it is. But Presley surprised her boyfriend with a camping trip and he dumped her. But she still went on the camping trip, and I think while she's on that camping trip, it's gonna be like a coming of age novel for her, even though she's like 25 or something. And also I think she's gonna fall in love with the guy at the camp. Like the lodge owner. White cover. For that, I have If Something Happens to Me by Alex Finley. This is very white cover. It's like a white envelope. I've never read anything from this author, and I really want to, but I believe this is like a domestic thriller. For the past 5 years, Ryan has relived that terrible night. The car door ripping open, the crushing blow to the head, the hands yanking him from the vehicle, his girlfriend Allie's piercing scream as she is taken. With no trace of Allie or the car, a cloud of suspicion hangs over Ryan, but with no proof and a good lawyer, he's never charged. Though that doesn't matter to the podcasters and internet trolls, now Ryan has changed his last name and entered law school. He's put his past behind him. Until on a summer trip to Italy with his law school classmates, Ryan gets a call from his dad. Allie's car has finally been found, submerged in a lake in Ryan's hometown. Inside are 2 dead men and a cryptic note with 5 words written on the envelope in Allie's handwriting. If Something Happens to Me. Okay, a new release. I know that the whole intent for that particular space is to go see what's new and go obtain it, or buy it or get it from the library or whatever. I completely love that idea, but because I am so far behind on books that were sent to me and I was supposed to read them and review them, and I really want to get better at that, I'm going to use a book that was sent to me last year, in 2025, that I never got around to reading. It came out in May, and I believe that I got it in February. And now it's just like sitting on my shelf, haunting me. But this is A 40-Year Kiss by Nicholas Butler. I believe that this is a literary fiction about this married couple who is just going through life and they're having problems again, or I'm not entirely sure. Then we have Roses Are Red, so get a book that has flowers on the cover. So there are lots of flowers, and when you turn it around, there's more flowers. This is The Connollys of County Down by Tracy Lang. When Tara is released from prison after serving 18 months on a drug charge, she knows rebuilding her life at 30 years old won't be easy with no money and no prospects. She returns home to live with her siblings, who are both busy with their own problems. Her brother, a single dad, struggles with the ongoing effects of a brain injury, and her sister's fragile facade of calm and order is cracking under the burden of big secrets. And then Winter Setting. For that one, I'm picking How Will I Know You by Jessica Treadway. This follows a girl named Joy, I believe. And her body is found in December in upstate New York. She's dead, and you are trying to figure out what happened to her. Okay, and then the last row of books is this stack right here. The first prompt is magical or mythical creatures. I cheated. I for sure cheated because I don't read fantasy, so I don't have like dragon books or fae or elves or anything like that. So I definitely cheated. I'm going to be reading Ghost Radio by Leopold Gout. So in this, there's a radio station that talks about like vampires and ghosts and scary stories about poltergeist. Person hosting Ghost Radio in the radio station starts hearing things and getting haunted potentially by something else. So I know that technically vampires and poltergeists and ghosts are not like mythical creatures in the same sense as like fae or different things like that, but I seriously have nothing because I don't read that kind of book. Then we have Cozy by the Fire. So you can read indoors and get cozy with like a blanket and a coffee or hot chocolate or tea or whatever you like. Or you could pick a like cozy-esque book or something that you think will be cozy. I hate cozy books. But this is like the closest to your traditional cozy book that I would get without rolling my eyes a million times. So I have The Heartbreak Hotel. Then we have green cover. This is kind of like a greeny yellow black, but I'm gonna count it. I think there's enough green to count it. And that's Hex by Thomas Odell Helvet. This is a ghost story. And we have snow on the cover. And for that, I'm picking Boys in the Valley by Philip Franceschi. This is like Lord of the Flies, but make it adult and make it horror. And the last prompt finally is Night Sky. This one might change. I'm not gonna lie to you. But there's stars. I don't know if you can see the stars in the sky. This is The Last Goodbye by Fiona Lucas. This one also might make me cry. And again, in 2026, I'm trying to cry more with my books. So, this follows this woman, Anna. And Spencer was her husband. He died tragically. And she keeps calling his phone number to hear his voicemail. But I think it's a year after his death. And she hasn't called in a while. And when she calls, someone else picks up. And it's not her husband's voice. And they kind of start corresponding. And I believe that they start falling in love. But it's going to be a lot of like grief and moving on with your life and being okay with being happy even after tragedy. No. But that is my entire TBR for Winter Bingo from Owl's Pick Your TBR from Ashley Loves Books and Owls. Again, I'm going to link her channel down below. If you are participating, let me know what you'll be reading. Tell me if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are on them. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you're new around here.